The only real failure. When we think of failure, we usually imagine missed opportunities, broken dreams, financial collapse, or relationships that ended badly. Society measures success and failure by outer achievements, status, wealth, recognition, or the fulfillment of personal goals. From this perspective, life seems like a constant weighing scale, victories on one side, failures on the other. But Eckhart Tolle reminds us that in the deeper dimension of life, there is only one real failure. And it is not what the world defines. The only real failure is to miss the present moment, to live unconsciously, trapped in the mind, disconnected from being. Everything else, no matter how painful, is only part of life's unfolding. 1. The world's definition of failure. From childhood, we are conditioned to believe in certain markers of success. Good grades, a promising career, financial security, a beautiful home, a family, social recognition. And when life does not align with these images, we feel inadequate. We call it failure. But these definitions are fragile. They change with culture, time, and perspective. What one generation sees as failure, another sees as courage. A person who leaves a stable career to follow their inner calling may be judged by society as a failure, yet they may be closer to real success, living authentically in alignment with the present moment. Eckhart often points out that outer success is ultimately fleeting. Wealth disappears, relationships shift, health changes, recognition fades. If your sense of worth is tied to outer achievements, then failure is inevitable because all forms are impermanent. 2. The ego's obsession with failure. The ego thrives on comparison. It says, I should be further ahead. I should be better. I should be more like them. And when reality does not match the ego's image, a sense of failure arises. This is why so many people live in constant dissatisfaction, even if they appear successful. The ego always whispers, not enough. You should have more. But notice, failure in this sense is not an objective fact, it is a thought, a mental judgment. It lives only in the mind's story. When you step into presence, you see through this illusion. You realize, in this moment, there is no failure. There is only life happening now. 3. The true failure. Eckhart Tolle says the only true failure is failure to be present. Because when you miss the now, you miss life itself. Think about it, all experiences, success, failure, joy, loss happen only in the present. But the mind constantly drags us into past and future, regrets about what went wrong, anxieties about what might happen. In doing so, we miss the only place where life is real. To live without presence is to live asleep. It is to be carried along by unconscious patterns, reacting instead of truly living. That is the real failure, not the outer circumstances, but the inner disconnection. 4. How apparent failure can serve awakening. Ironically, what we call failure in the world often becomes a doorway to awakening. Many people only begin their spiritual journey after life breaks down. When the outer structures collapse, career, relationships, health, the ego can no longer hold control. A space opens for something deeper to emerge. Eckhart himself experienced this. His awakening was preceded by deep depression, despair, and a sense of complete failure at living. In that dark night, a profound realization came, I cannot live with myself any longer. And if I cannot live with myself, who is the I and who is the self? That insight shattered the old identity and opened the dimension of presence. So-called failure can strip away illusions and force us to face what is essential. It shows us that no outer achievement can give lasting fulfillment. It invites us to turn inward, toward the timeless presence that cannot fail. 5. Shifting from failure to presence. How do we move from the ego's sense of failure to the deeper realization of presence? 1. Notice the story in the mind. When thoughts say, "I have failed," recognize that this is a judgment, not reality. See the thought as a thought. 2. Bring attention to the present moment. Feel the breath. Sense the body. Notice the aliveness in your hands, your feet, your chest. In presence, the concept of failure dissolves. 3. Accept what is. Eckhart often emphasizes radical acceptance. Whatever has happened, has already happened. Resistance creates suffering. Acceptance opens peace. 4. See the gift in the challenge. Even painful experiences carry seeds of awakening. Ask, what is life teaching me here? What deeper truth can I realize through this? 5. Rest in being. Beyond success and failure, beyond gain and loss, there is a timeless dimension of stillness. That is who you are. Rest there. 6. Success redefined. If the only real failure is to miss presence, then what is true success? True success is simply this: to be awake in this moment. To live aligned with the now. To act from awareness instead of ego. This does not mean abandoning goals or responsibilities. You may still create, work, achieve, and contribute. But you do so from a place of presence, not as a desperate attempt to complete yourself. When you live in presence, even simple acts, walking, listening, eating, become sacred. You no longer measure life in terms of success or failure. You live in alignment with being. And that is freedom. 7. Practical reflections. Let us bring this teaching into daily life. Times, work and career, you may lose a job, or a business may fail. The ego calls this failure. But in presence, it becomes simply life unfolding. It may redirect you toward something more authentic. Times, relationships, a marriage may end. Friendships may fall apart. Instead of labeling it failure, see it as change. Each ending is also a beginning. Times, personal goals, you may not achieve what you envisioned. Yet perhaps the deeper purpose of the experience was not the achievement itself, but the growth, humility, or awakening it brought. Times, inner journey, each time you notice yourself lost in thought and return to presence, you succeed. Even the awareness of having been unconscious is a success, because it shows awakening is happening. 8. The silence beyond success and failure. Ultimately, both success and failure are concepts. They exist only in thought. The deeper reality is beyond both. When you rest in presence, there is a silence, a stillness that is not touched by gain or loss. From that space, you can engage with life fully, but without being enslaved by its ups and downs. This is true freedom, to realize that who you are is not your story, not your successes, not your failures, but the awareness in which all experiences come and go. Closing reflection. So what is the only real failure? It is not losing money, missing an opportunity, or being rejected. The only real failure is to be absent, to live unconscious, identified with the ego, missing the sacredness of the present moment. And what is true success? To awaken, here and now, to the aliveness of being. To honor this moment as the only place where life is real. As Eckhart Tolle beautifully reminds us, you can only fail at what you are not. You cannot fail at being yourself.